Don't you think that politicians should be mentally grilled on a regular basis? Well, I do, and my solution to reform government is called just that. It is the grill. It is an intense and consistent political vetting system, and today I want to go over the Constitution, the Charter, or more aptly named the Protocol of the Grill. We'll see this in greater relief in a moment. It fits on one page. You might memorize it by mistake if you read it twice. The rules to a system or a game should always be disclosed, easy to understand. It holds the integrity for the players, which would be the politicians in this case, as well as the people who are spectating, which would be you and me, the general public, and the referee, which would be the grillers and the understudy grillers. So let's get into it. Who's going to be on each grill? Well, you're going to have a politician. Without the politician, there is no grill because we're grilling politicians. In order to be eligible for the grill, to be grilled, you must be in the current office or running for president, vice president, any member of Congress, or governor. At some point in the future, maybe we'll go to more local government. But for now, I think more people would be compelled to see the people in higher positions of power you probably want to see the president of the United States grilled on a regular basis more than just some random assemblymen from a random town in the USA. But the suggested minimum attendance is 4 times a year, so once a quarter, but you can come in as much as once a month, 12 times a year. And I think that would provide a great leg up on the competition, especially free airtime for new politicians. Grills are in person or virtual. I think virtual is the way to go, and if it ever has a physical location, it would be probably in Washington, D.C. I think that would make the most sense. And you can't sandbag all your grills to the end of the year. You can't come in the last 12 days of December. The consecutive grills have to be at least 30 days apart. Grills are streamed live to the general public, so there's no editing at all. And it's archived to the grill website for the internet to chop up into shorter durations, or for you and I to go and filter through the grill website and take a look at the grills that maybe we missed. We suggest no disparaging remarks about other politicians. You could do it as a politician, but it will detract from your score. So stay tuned for part 2. We get into the real meat of it, which is the scoring of the grill. Scandals will not be addressed. I mean, if you murdered someone, we're not going to grill you, but we're not going to address your scandals. That's for the major news media outlets and the tabloids to cover. Your political party will not be mentioned, and if you do mention it, it's going to detract from your score. Again, that's coming up in part 2. But if we scan right up to the top real quickly, you'll see here, we want to unite citizens in consistently vetting politicians by their ideas, logic, and actions. No political parties. We want that to kind of fall away because it only matters what someone thinks and does, not what political party they're from. And I can already hear the helicopters buzzing over my house. So I'm just kidding. Last but not least, each grill is 3 hours long. It may seem like a long time to be interrogated on a regular basis, on a monthly basis. If you mentally can't handle that, you should not be in a position of power. You can take breaks, use your phone, you can ditch out as early as you want. Be aware, though, you're part of a political vetting system, so people are going to compare the politician that only stays for an hour on each grill to the one that fulfills the 3 hours. And then within there's many different variables that we can analyze. The last 2 people in the room would be the griller and the understudy griller. The grillers interrogate the politicians, they uphold the protocol of the grill and logic. Grill is fact-checking the politicians in real time, and the grillers are seeking one of 2 things as an answer: sound and valid conclusions, or I don't know. They may not receive that all the time. Then they have the right to pause the conversation, and for the following reasons. They can call out non sequiturs, logical fallacies, avoidance, incoherency, and false claims. The grill will have listed on their website all the logical fallacies. Whenever you're having a conversation with someone, if you've noticed, they say something that makes no sense, and then you're thinking, should I kind of bring it up? Should I kind of stop them? And then by the time you do, if you do, they've buried the nonsense under 10 sentences, and then they're on to some other nonsense. That goes on around the world all the time, and that's incrementally how society gets destroyed. So on the grill, we want to call out those non sequiturs as we go. They may pause the grill to summarize the politician's answer back to them. The grillers will pause to request a playback of the audio in question for further analysis. This would be nice if we had this with our families, right? Well, I don't know if that would go over very well, but on the grill, we will play back the audio right away that's in question. The griller can ask about political actions that were taken on a particular subject or since the last grill. So if the politician is saying, I need to see a widget in everyone's house, and they have sound and valid conclusions around it, then the griller can say, okay, this all sounds good, but what have you done? And if you haven't done anything, that will detract from your score. You'll see that in the second video. So the grill is not just about words. This is meant to push action forward. And the third person in the room, the understudy griller, it's really fact-checking in real time. Maybe they have some access to artificial intelligence, certainly the internet. They may replace the grillers if the grillers deviate from this protocol, sort of a little fail-safe built into the system. The understudy griller helps the griller give a final score to each grill per politician, and we're going to cover that in part 2. And what topics will be covered on the grill? Government corruption and government workflow will be a consistent part of every grill, roughly around 80%. And other topics will be covered. Again, there's 3 hours on each grill. The thought here is, since the grill is so logically minded, why in the world would we cover other topics too much if we're clearly dealing with a fraudulent system that's not going to deliver on other topics, or at least be telling the truth about them? And over time, that ratio will change. The grill will have some general observation of current events. Of course, depending on the politician, we might cover different topics. The general public can also go to the grill website and suggest topics. So that's all the stuff that will help form the topic bank. I appreciate you watching this. Please rip this apart in the comments section. Go to part 2, because that's going to cover, I think, the most interesting part, the scoring of the grill, which I think is a great way to compare and contrast politicians and to really change their behavior over time, as well as the behavior of the general public, which is to make sure that we are analyzing politicians not by their party, but by their ideas, logic, and action.